Good afternoon. Welcome to the Automated Home Show. Hope you're doing well. I'm sitting here on a Sunday afternoon. Got my fresh juice. I don't often have a fresh juice, but you know what? I'm craving one today. I don't have them very often. Let's see. That is absolutely delicious. I don't know what it is, but it's great. I've been psyching myself up to make this video for a while because there's some big changes that I want to explain. But in the last 24 hours, I've realized that you don't care what I do. I've just really been psyching myself up to give myself permission for what I'm about to tell you. And I'm sure for the 2 or 3 people that actually do care about what I'm going to say in this video, well, I hope that you'll understand why I've taken the decision that I'm about to explain. And that is, look, I'll just get straight to the punchline and then we'll go into the details. The punchline is I've decided, at least temporarily, I'm not sure how long this is going to be true for, but I want to just call timeout with regard to smart home tech, products, brands, infrastructure, technology in general in our home. And the main reason for that is concerns that I have because I've got a small child. We've got a little kid, toddler, running around our home. And my wife is pregnant. We've got another one on the way. So my main concern, and if you're a parent, you'll know that you'll do anything for your children. My main concern is just giving my children and my wife and my unborn child that's on the way a healthy environment. And that's really everything there is to it. Everything else that I'm going to explain in this video is kind of related to that big decision that I've made. Now, before you call me crazy or a conspiracy theorist, let me just say, look, I'm not going to get too far away from what's relevant to smart homes in this particular video recording, but I did recently spend some time, like an hour and a half, looking at published clinical trials, medical research papers, scientific studies related to things such as the potential health effects of RF, EMF exposure. And at the very least, it's caused me to say, hang on a second. Yes, all this tech that we're bringing into our homes, smart home tech, all these gadgets, our phones, our computers, just everything that we have in our homes, in our environment, yeah, it's practical. It adds value. It's fun. It's addictive. It's helpful. It adds utility. It's novel. Definitely. But have we paused to consider whether or not it's actually safe? And do we know for sure, one way or another? That's all I'm saying. Now, no judgments for anybody that's going to take a different decision. That's perfectly fine. In fact, let me just say, I think depending on what season of your life you're in, I think it's fine to make whatever decision you think is most appropriate for you. Like, for example, I'll just give you the opposite end of the spectrum right now. If I was elderly and if we did not have children in our home, then I would say, even if potentially, and I'll just say potentially for now because I don't think we know conclusively for sure, but even if all of this tech that we're bringing into our homes is potentially harmful to our health long term, I would still say, you know what? Who cares? To hell with it. Especially if you are mobility disabled, then absolutely bring smart home tech into your life and enjoy it because it's fun. It is fun and helpful. And if you're in your 80s or 90s, then who cares? I don't think it matters at all. And if it's going to help you to be more mobile, productive, if it's going to help you to get utility and happiness, then go for it. Absolutely. And again, hey, no judgment. If you're in a different season of your life and you're going to make a different decision for yourself and your family, that's fine. I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just telling you what I've decided makes sense for my family, at least temporarily. At least temporarily. I just want to call a timeout. And yeah, look, again, it comes back to spending a bunch of time recently looking at published medical studies, clinical trial results, scientific research papers written by actual scientists, actual doctors, and it's just given me pause for concern. That's all. So what I've done in the last few days might seem rather rash or perhaps an overreaction, but just to level with you, I just immediately went and unplugged our Wi-Fi router. including, I went and got a new Asus fancy top of the range next gen Wi-Fi router that gave us the additional band of 6 gigahertz. And even before, I recently looked into potential health risks associated with this and other things as well. It's not only RF exposure that I've looked at recently, but even before that, I was kind of wondering if buying that Wi-Fi router was a good idea or not. And honestly, I don't think it was, because it certainly didn't improve our internet speeds. We don't have any devices that were making use of 6 gigahertz. The only potential benefits we got from that Wi-Fi router were the ability to split out the bands. So we had 3 bands created. One was 2.4 gigahertz only, which can be helpful with smart home tech. Sometimes it's difficult if you've got a merged band of 2.4 and 5. It's difficult to connect to smart home devices, as I'm sure you probably know. We also had a band that was 2.4 and 5 gigahertz combined. And then we had a third band that was 2.4 plus 5 plus 6. And that band was basically unusable. It was terrible. So I would say the only benefits we got really from that Wi-Fi router were, one, the ability to split out all of these different bands. At times that was helpful to have 2.4 only when trying to connect to new smart home devices. The other benefit that we got was, it definitely did increase the Wi-Fi coverage around our home, which seemed like a great idea until recently. And now I'm wondering, was that a good idea or was it not a good idea? Look, I'm just being completely honest with you in this conversation. Now, again, as I said at the beginning, I don't think anybody cares. If you're still watching or if you're still listening to this conversation, I don't think you care about what decisions I'm making in my home. I'm just sharing my thought process with you. And look, this might be a temporary timeout. And here's what's not changing. I'm not walking away from the vertical, from the category, from the niche, or niche if you're American. I'm absolutely still interested in smart home tech. I'm absolutely still committed to the brand. The forums are going to remain online because I know a lot of users, particularly in the UK, particularly related to heating technology, I know they get a lot of value from the smart home forums. They're going to stay online forever, no change there, free forever. I'm also going to continue to create written articles to continue to serve the community, because we do have a large and growing list of email subscribers who receive our emails every day with news and updates and industry trends and latest technology developments as we're seeing things change. So that is another thing that we're going to stay committed to for sure. Hang on, I just got to drink this. That is delicious. As far as video goes, I'm not going to make any commitments. I'm going to show up at a certain time or a certain date. For me, this is just a hobby. This is not my job. It's not my 9 to 5. I enjoy this. I've enjoyed immersing myself in smart home tech, in the smart home space. So I'm going to continue to show up only when I feel like I've got something interesting to say, only when I feel like I've got something relevant, when I'm testing a new product, and I'll come back to that point in a moment. Or maybe I'll share updates that are not specifically smart products, but are relevant to making your home more comfortable or more pleasant. Things like black blockout curtains, which I have here and in other rooms in our home. Things like, this is funny, right? Installing a very expensive, top-of-the-line reverse osmosis water filter so that we have cleaner drinking water. That's another thing that I might talk about. Or, just simple things like getting a more comfortable mattress for your bed or more comfortable pillows, little things like that. So, look, I might create videos when I feel like I've got something that I want to say, if I feel like I've got something that I want to share, but I'm not going to promise to show up every week or every month or whatever the case may be. It's just going to be when I feel like it. Again, this is a hobby for me. So I want to treat this as a sustainable marathon, and I can stay in this industry, continue to talk about making your home more comfortable, more convenient, safer, more secure, smarter, forever. So I'm going to stay engaged with the space. I also reserve the right to continue to bring smart home products, smart home tech into our home for whatever period of time that I think is safe or appropriate or whatever I decide. I'm reserving all rights as it pertains to smart home products, smart home brands, smart home tech in the future. For instance, Maybe I want to go and test a new smart home product and I bring it into our home, I turn it on, I get it connected, I play with it for 24 hours. And that's enough time to decide what I think of that product, maybe make a video about that product, maybe create a written article about that product, share my thoughts about that product. And then maybe after that 24-hour period, maybe I say, you know what, that's it. I don't want this in our home forever. I'm going to unplug it. Maybe I put it in our cupboard to keep for some future date. Maybe I give it away. We'll see. Maybe other times we'll bring a new product into our home and I might say, this is fantastic. I want to keep it forever. But just as of right now, I just want to call timeout, just take a step back. And again, this all comes back to, I just don't know. As a parent, as an expecting parent, I just can't say for sure that our home environment, as it currently stands, is safe for small children. And in fact, look, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say in the fullness of time, 20, 30 years from now, I think we're going to look back and say, of course, right? But look, if you're interested in what I found that has led me to this conclusion, that has led me to this point where I've decided to take this quite drastic decision to say, you know what? Let's just unplug the Wi-Fi router. Let's turn off these smart home products. In fact, you can see sitting right here behind me if you're watching the video, this is an Amazon Pop that was sitting here on my desk. Look, I try and keep my boy out of my office space here, but I'm surrounded by electronics right here. I'm just trying to minimize everything at the moment. You know, we don't need to have Amazon clocks, speakers in every room around our home. We don't need to have so many smart home devices around our place. That's the decision that I've made at the moment. So look, if you are interested to go deeper on what I found and what led me to this decision, I did record my research. I'm still thinking about whether or not I might publish that video that I recorded myself doing the research on some other channel. It's not relevant to smart home, so I'm not going to publish it on this channel. But if I do decide to publish it on some other channel, I'll drop the link below. If you want to check that out, go for it. If you don't want to check it out, that's fine as well. Look, again, I've realized that no one really cares what I'm doing in my personal home. And if you do care for whatever reason, I hope you can understand that I'm making this decision. And I don't know if this is a temporary timeout or if this is potentially going to be a long-term permanent decision. But for right now, I've made the decision for the health of my child and pregnant wife and unborn child. I just want to minimize RF EMF exposure in our home for now and pending more research. I'm just reserving all options for the future. Now, again, I'm not walking away from the space. I'm going to stay up to date with what's new with regard to tech, brands, products, capabilities. I love this space. It is fun. I really have enjoyed my journey thus far. I'm probably going to keep a lot of these devices and products. I'm probably going to keep them. So if I want to reactivate my smart home, I'll be able to at a moment's notice. Additionally, you know, like another potentially positive to come out of this exercise will be by going through this learning exercise once and creating my smart home. And I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. In fact, I've documented a lot of the mistakes and learnings that I've made in the last few years right here on this channel previously. By doing that and then dismantling my smart home, in the future, next time I go ahead and build it back again, then hopefully it's going to be easier and better as well. So I don't feel like I've regretted any part of my journey. Well, look, honestly, I do feel a bit guilty, potentially. But as a parent, I just, you know, the health of my family, that's just top priority. Like, as fun as smart home tech is, as helpful as it is, as novel, as useful, as practical as all of this stuff is, I just want to put my family's health first. That's all. And again, no judging from me. If anybody's going to make a different decision, no judgment at all. So that is the overriding principle. As I said, there's going to be no change to the website, to the smart home forums on the website, to the people that are subscribed to our email list and get our daily emails. That's already a very, very large email list of subscribers. If it's not already the largest list of email subscribers in the smart home industry, it's got to be up there, and it's certainly on the way to becoming the biggest list of email subscribers in the smart home space. So I'm going to continue to be committed to serving those subscribers, and the smart home forums, they're going to be online forever. And it's great to see, like the forums on the website, it's mostly serving people in the UK with regard to heating products, heating tech, heating problems, and troubleshooting that people are encountering in their homes. And although this is currently not relevant to me in my home here in Malaysia at all, because Malaysia is a hot country, I certainly don't need heating. I do enjoy watching the interaction between the veterans of that forum, and I'm thinking particularly of a few. Look, I'm not going to shout anybody out, but the regulars, you know who you are, and I appreciate it. I enjoy the interactions that I've had with you, and I appreciate you helping out newbies that come along with specific questions as well. And I know that's a valuable resource for people that are just discovering the forums for the first time, or people that have been around the forums for a long time. I know a lot of people enjoy that, and no plans to make any changes there. So that's where I'm at. Pretty big change, right? And look, the reason I've been psyching myself up to make this confession for, this was kind of coming for a couple of months, but it's really come to a head in the last couple of weeks when I've gone deep on some scientific, medical, clinical trial research that has just made me say, oh, wow, cigarettes were healthy until they were not. I just don't know. So I'm just calling a timeout here. The future of my home, of our home, with regard to smart home tech, like I said, I'm reserving all options, reserving all rights for making decisions in the future. To level with you, there's a very good chance that at some point in the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to move. In fact, we're definitely going to move, I would say, within 12 months, because with another baby on the way, this place is going to be too small. It's not going to be appropriate for us. So we do have a move coming at some point in the next 6 to 12 months. And here's the other thing. It's most likely not going to be in Malaysia. We're looking at other countries. We're looking at all options. And we're thinking, we're not limiting ourselves to any part of the world, any region. We're really looking at the entire world and thinking, where would serve us for this season of our life that we're about to enter? Where do we want to go? What options do we want? What obligations do we want to avoid? So the future is uncertain. It's going to be exciting. And I'm going to share some of that journey here on the channel. We are kind of private people, despite the fact that I do make these videos and I do put myself out there. I'm not going to share my family. We are quite private people, but I'll probably share some of our journey wherever this leads us in the future. And it's going to be with an eye on smart tech. In the future, maybe after a few years, we say, you know what, we do want some smart home tech back in our home. We'll see where the wind blows, so to speak. So I think health concerns is reason enough to say, hey, let's just call a timeout here. But look, to be perfectly honest with you, there are a couple of other things that have also been in the back of my mind recently, not as concerning as a potential health risk to your unborn or young child, but also concerns, potentially, things that I want to think a bit more deeply about while we're taking this time out. And they are potential privacy concerns and potential security concerns. If you've been around the space for a while, you've probably seen some privacy breaches, some security breaches, and I think that's a moving target, especially over the next 5 or 10 years, with how we see the world evolving and changing. I think we're in an unprecedented time of change in a lot of countries and perhaps for the world as a whole. And I just want to take a time out with regard to exposing ourselves to potential security and privacy risks until I've had a chance to think more about it and perhaps take steps to mitigate or reduce any potential risks. I don't want to get too deep into some potential paths that the future may take. For now, again, just taking a step back, just reserving all options while also remaining firmly engaged in the space, staying on top of what's happening with regard to technology, capabilities, new brands, new products. And I'm going to continue to report on the space, but we'll see what happens. That's my update. I feel so relieved that I've got that off my chest. And if you're still here listening or watching, I hope that you've given me permission to take this time out while I drink some more juice. Let me share a quick funny story. In fact, I got two funny stories for you to do today. The first one is related to a healthy new food product that I've started eating just very recently for a couple of reasons. I think I've recently discovered that there's a Japanese food product called, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, so please forgive me, natto kinase. And it's supposedly some kind of wonder food. It helps with lots of different things. Of interest to me, I've previously shared here on the channel that I have been struggling with persistently high cholesterol for at least the last few years. It seems to have only come about in the last 3 to 5 years. It never used to be a problem. But I have been struggling with some relatively high cholesterol for the last few years. I'm trying to get it down. Apparently, natto kinase can be very helpful for cholesterol management, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I've started eating this natto kinase stuff, and I can't stand it. If you've tried it and if you like it, I'm jealous of you. I wish I liked it, because every time I eat it, which is I'm trying to eat a little bit daily at the moment, I feel like I'm just really fighting to keep it down and not have it come back up on me. It's really, really disgusting. And then I realized that the amount that I'm eating on a daily basis, it's actually not much. It's definitely not enough to get the really good health impacts that I think Joe Rogan talked about it on his podcast. If you want to get these really powerful, helpful impacts from natto kinase, you need to eat a lot or consume a lot of it. So like compared to how much I'm having, I'd need to like 5x or 6x the amount that I'm having. And I just absolutely could not do that without vomiting. So that was a little bit disappointing. And then I realized, or I discovered, silly me, I should have thought about this first, that you can actually get it in a tablet capsule form, and you can just take one tablet, one capsule, and get 5 or 6 times as much as I'm eating this stuff that I really, really don't enjoy. So I felt like an idiot. And now I've got some tablets that are on the way. So I'm looking forward to switching to the tablets, and I can retire having to eat this stuff that I really don't like. So that was kind of a funny thing. The other story that I want to share with you that I guess it's funny, but not that funny, is also related to health research, health realizations. I spent some time looking at fluoride in water. And again, before you come at me and say, hey, it's fine, conspiracy theorists, whatever, do you have any scientific research? Do you have any medical research? Because I spent a lot of time looking at published clinical trials, scientific studies, medical research papers. I came to the conclusion, despite what they tell us is healthy, personally, as the advocate for my family's health, and I've realized that I do need to be more proactive now in taking decisions for myself and particularly for my family's health, rather than just outsourcing it to them, whoever they are. Anyway, so as it relates to fluoride, I did a lab test before and after installing this new, very, very expensive reverse osmosis water filter in our home here. So I've got lab test. This is before. So this was getting water out of a water filter from our water faucet. So it came through a water filter, and then we boiled the water in a kettle. And then when the water cooled down, we were drinking it. This is bad news, right? So this shows, I've learned recently that boiling water does not remove fluoride. So this shows that we had 0.9 milligrams per liter. That's 0.9 parts per million fluoride in the water that we're drinking, which is really, really terrible, right? This kind of freaked me out. So anyway, it became an urgent matter to install this new reverse osmosis water filter in our home. Cost a lot of money, and we got it. And then I breathed a sigh of relief. We're drinking the water. I thought, you know what? Just to be sure, I'm going to test it. So I got a sample of the water coming out of the filter now, our new expensive filter, and it's only about 5% better. It's gone from 0.9 parts per million before. Now, with the filter, it's only improved to 0.85 parts per million. About a 5.5% drop in the amount of fluoride, which it's negligible. That could be down to just sampling differences, different days. I don't know, but it's Very, very disappointing. So I guess it's not funny at all. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny that I spent a bunch of money on this water filter that hasn't solved the only problem that I really, really cared about. So that is annoying. Again, if you want to go deeper on what I discovered in these clinical trials, these scientific studies, these medical research papers, and there is a large body of scientific evidence as it relates to these topics that I've touched on in this video. That's fluoride in water, and it's also RF EMF exposure. If you want to see what I saw that caused me to say, hey, time out on smart home tech products, and also let's get this expensive reverse osmosis, excuse me, water filter in our home. If I publish those videos, which I probably will, but it's not on this channel, I'll link to them below here so you can check that out if you're interested. I'll leave it there. I'm not sure when I'll be back with more updates on the Automated Home channel. If I have something to share, if I feel like I'm doing something interesting in my home, whether it be something that's smart, new products, new technology, new something that I'm testing, or something that's dumb, so to speak, not smart, things like blockout curtains or a new mattress or a water filter or anything like that. If I feel like I've got something interesting, and if I feel inspired to sit down and make a video about it or create a written article about it, I'll share an update with you. But in the meantime, I'm taking a bit of a step back here in our own home for the benefit, hopefully, of my family's health until we get more information, until I've made a decision. I'm not stepping away from the space, still committed to the website, to the forums, to the email subscribers, but I'll talk to you again when I have something interesting to share. Hopefully, you've enjoyed these funny stories while I've drunk this juice. Have a nice day, and I'll talk to you at some point in the future.